All right. So, welcome everyone to the Your Market Producer of the Month interview for May. Today we're here with Renee from Burtons Lane Curry Paste. So, Renee, do you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Hi, I'm Renee, and I'm glad that you're here watching us today.
So, Renee, can you please tell us the story of how Burtons Lane very first got started?
Sure. My great grandparents were born in India, and that's the life they knew. They were Anglo Indian, British Indian, because Britain reigned India at the time, so the early 1920s and 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually had a tanning business where they would skin pythons, sell the skins.
Wow.
Yeah, that was very interesting. They give them a brew of nicotine and skin them alive. Like that would not. Yeah, I know that would not be allowed in this day and age. Anyway, that's the story. And the market went out of skins, and they decided they were quite well to do. Then apparently they had a car for that time.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided to put all their savings into a coffee plantation in the south of India.
Mm-hmm.
And they drove for like 2 weeks, got stuck in monsoons to get to this coffee plantation. And so they tried their hand at that. And then the depression hit and the market went out of coffee and they walked off that with nothing.
Wow, right.
And they had 5 children.
Right.
Yes. So my grandfather was one of the children.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids actually hadn't been educated while they were on that coffee plantation, and education was important. So they couldn't afford to feed them or educate them when they walked off that with nothing. So they sent 4 of the 5 children to an orphanage.
Right.
And to get the kids back, they started doing ready-made meals that my great-grandfather sold on his bicycle.
Right, okay.
And then they were part of like an Anglo-Indian society, and people started asking them to make pickles and condiments.
Yeah.
So they started doing that, and my granny was the driving, so my great-grandmother, she was the brains of the outfit is what I'm told. And they started doing that. They actually ended up with a factory in Bangalore with 30 employees at its peak.
Right.
And after 3 or 4 years, they ended up bringing the kids back home again. So yeah, it was born out of necessity, and like as a mother, I think an overwhelming, like I can't even comprehend doing that to my children. So, I don't know if the word desperation, but like definitely a necessity to want to have your family back together again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Big driving force to make sure it all worked out.
Yeah, yes. A very big why, I guess you could say. Yeah,
definitely. And so then how did you guys end up in Australia?
So when India gained independence from Britain, it was actually very hard for Anglo-Indians to do business in India after that. And so it was a conversation on the train, apparently, that my great-grandfather had, and they sold the business to an Indian family. And they actually still own that business today, that family that bought it.
Right, okay.
But my grandparents and my great-grandparents immigrated to Australia and brought my granny's recipe book with her.
Yeah.
Got it inside. So they immigrated here and they got work here, and they just fed the family those things, then the curry paste and the pickles and the kasaundi. They never started the business here in Australia. My great-grandfather actually was quite ill, and so my granny, we called her granny, my granny went to work in an office. I can't remember exactly, but my granny went to work.
Yeah, right.
So then it was just our special meals were made with the curry paste. And
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they didn't bring the business over here with them. So then how did
This is Burtons Lane.
This is Burtons Lane. How did you come to start Burtons Lane Curry Paste?
So I have 4 children of my own.
Yep.
And I wanted to be home with them. And so actually a couple of my sisters were making curry paste as well. And I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. And so I decided to see if I could make it. Because we always just got it from mum or got it from an uncle or whoever made a batch when we wanted some. And I named it Burtons Lane because that's where I live. That's our original. And I just honestly, I gave it as gifts at the preschool the first year I made it, and I just wanted to, my own little income stream how it started, but
Yeah.
it's become a lot busier than that now. Yeah.
That's great. That's brilliant. So you're saying that your sisters were making it, your uncle, your mum were making it. Can you run us through sort of the process for making a batch? Is it a big process? Is it
Well, for the curry paste, like
Mhm.
what I do to try and get a stockpile,
Yeah.
I'll go buy my spices in bulk.
Mhm.
An Indian lady in town, and then I pre-weigh out my spice mix.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time to cook, I just heat the oil in the pot, quite a big bit of oil. Mix the spices with some ginger and garlic and vinegar
Mhm.
to make it into a wet paste, and then
Mhm.
I add that to the oil and stir
Yeah.
a lot. Until it looks right,
Mhm.
tastes right, and then I bottle it up hot and put it in the jars and put the labels on.
Yeah, brilliant. So it's very much a an expertise. You're checking it as you go, making sure it tastes right and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, I have been doing it for 10 years, so I guess you could use the word expertise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So, yeah, I try and keep everything as much the same as I can, but sometimes I have to change brands of turmeric or chili or
Yeah.
depending on what's available. But I do try and make things very consistent.
Yeah, great.
Is my
So it's
intention.
It's got that small batch accuracy and special touch.
Yes, I hope so. I hope so.
Okay. And so then you finish making the batch, and you're selling it around town.
Yeah.
What's some of the feedback that you've got from how do people like to use your products, and then and what sort of feedback have you got from them?
Well, I actually visited my grandma, who's still alive. She's the last of her generation.
Mhm.
So it's not my granny, it's the next generation down,
Gotcha.
and grandma married into the family. But she's almost 99. She'll be 99 next month.
Wow.
And so she asked me to bring a jar of my paste, even though my uncle gives her some. So I think that's cool. But she sometimes will just spread it on her toast for breakfast.
Wow, okay.
I don't do, but if you like.
Something to try?
Yeah, you could just spread it on your toast. But yeah, I would rather cook with it. But I know people that do a chicken curry, lamb, vegetarian, fish, roast veggies in the curry paste.
Yeah.
So it's very versatile. Like,
Yeah, okay.
try it. Try your own way and tell me how you like to do it.
Try it out and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And
In eggs. You put it in curried eggs. Yeah.
Okay.
In a salad dressing.
Yeah.
Like you can mayo, lemon juice, and a bit of curry paste.
So it's very versatile.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then what about, there'll be a lot of people at home that have used curry paste before.
Yeah.
What about your brinjal pickle and your tomato sandy?
Yeah. So traditionally, an Indian would make a curry and then you could add the tomato paste. You could add the tomato paste. You could add the tomato casandi or the brinjal pickle on top, or both.
Okay.
But once again, I use them in a variety of ways, and I occasionally put them on my curry. But the tomato casandi I put on, we have pizza night every Friday night.
Oh yeah.
And I put it on the pizza base instead of tomato paste.
Okay, that's really cool.
And I like the bit of a zing it gives.
Yeah.
I put it on my eggs for breakfast. I like it for a toasted sandwich with chicken, avocado, cheese, and baby spinach.
Yeah,
right. So
that sounds brilliant. That sounds really
quite
nice.
yummy. Or if you put the casandi on a sausage with some mayonnaise, to make it creamy, that's really yummy.
Wow.
too.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the brinjal pickle, lots of people I know like it on a lamb roast.
Okay.
Or with Mersey Valley cheese and biscuits. It's
Right.
quite yummy
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
Or you could put it on a toasty as well.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Depends how you like your pickle.
Okay. So you've given us loads of ideas of how to use your different products. All of them sound mouthwatering. They sound awesome.
What's for dinner tonight, Will?
I know. I'm getting some ideas. And so, if you had to pick one recipe that people at home should try using one of your products that would really showcase it and would be something that they could throw into their kind of weekly roster of recipes or dinners, what would it be?
Well, my one recipe that's on my weekly roster when I'm like, oh, I don't know what to cook, so the kids might roll their eyes, but is I do dal. So a lot of the world say dal. We say dal. And my most basic way I do that is fry a brown onion, a diced brown onion. You can slice it. I need to hide it from my kids.
Gotcha.
But just in some oil, and then add a couple of tablespoons of curry paste and just burn that off. And then I just, some washed red lentils, add that in. So I don't even measure it. I have a sieve about this big that I just fill with red lentils just to feed six. I just fill it, wash it, put it in the pot, and then put enough water over it to cover it, and a stock cube and a bit of salt. And then bring to the boil and simmer, and like just watch it in case you need to add more water. And that is my most basic that I serve with rice.
Wow, okay.
And everyone eats it. But if you wanted to, like sometimes I add pumpkin, some baby spinach through it to add some more veggies. You could add whatever veggies you want. You could add cassandy on top if you want more of a kick, or the pickle.
Okay. So it's really good. It's you can.
It's vegetarian. It's gluten free. It's dairy free.
Right. Very versatile as well. You can kind of add things in if people really want to have some meat that night, or if they want to. You make it spicy or something like that.
You could just add some more chili too if you want it spicy. Or if you want more veggies, you could just steam some veggies and put it on the side. So you've still got your protein source. From the lentils. You got your protein and the rice is carbs. And then you've still got your veggies. So
right. That sounds brilliant. I think I know what I'm going to do for dinner.
And easy. I like easy. Especially for families. When
in the middle of the week.
Come home from sport or work or whatever. And I did have one friend say to me a couple of years ago, the number of times your curry paste has saved my marriage. And I thought, well, if I've saved a marriage, then that's a win.
Must be pretty good, right?
It must be pretty good. Because, they would come home and just add some chicken and curry paste and rice, and dinner was sorted. So.
Wow, that's a glowing endorsement. Right?
I'm all for saving marriages.
That's brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much for having us out and for doing this interview. Everyone, jump on, have a look on YourMarket. We've got the 300ml and the 1 litre for the curry paste, the tomato cassandy, and the brinjal pickle. Or you can get a mixed pack and try all 3 of them out at once.
Why not?
Try them all out, experiment, and see what you can make. If not for me, have a look on Renee's website as well, Burtons Lane Curry Paste, or find you at local markets.
Yes, local markets, or there's a few local shops in town too.
Yep. Brilliant. Well, thanks Renee. Thank you very much for having us out.
Thanks Will, thanks for coming.
And we'll get that recipe for dal up for the recipe of the month for June as well, so watch this space.